What's up everybody, this is BigC90210 from TeamSAO.com and the No Blueprints blog. This series of videos is how to make a Terminator/Terminator 2 costume. It covers just about everything you need to know, from how to make a shotgun to how to make a minigun, and then obviously how to make a cool looking Terminator outfit, including makeup and mask and LED eye. Hope you like these videos. Please leave me a like, comment or subscribe. Cheers. What's up people? Today we're going to be looking at the shotgun, which is one of the main elements of the costume. So obviously in Terminator 2 Arnie uses a shotgun, so we're going to be making a shotgun to go with the costume. Now here's one I prepared earlier, which I didn't really prepare earlier, but I bought it from a reputable BB gun / air gun soft website. So just put this down here. It fires 6mm ball bearings, and let's have a look at what we're going to do to make this a bit more realistic. Let's have a look at the gun first. Well, it's a pump action shotgun. You put your ball bearings in here, close the chamber, cock it back and shoot. So it's also got a detachable end, which might seem a bit crap. However, we can use this to our advantage later on for stopping us getting arrested by the police when we have this in public, but more on that later on. So looking at it, there's a few things we're going to need to change. As an example, here obviously it's all chrome. This area here has holes in it, which we're going to need to close up because we don't want those holes, because the shotgun that Arnie uses in Terminator 2 looks nothing like that. Obviously this has been painted red, which again is for UK legislation, so we don't want that red. We're going to have to get this painted black. So first things first, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to sand this down. We're probably going to have to sand this chrome section down as well, sand this red section and get it painted black, and then from there we can add. Okay, so we're sanding down the shotgun. We sanded down the barrel. What was quite nice was the chrome is actually very thin. Chrome's actually a very thin coat of paint, and as you can see, without a lot of work, it means you can get that layer off. So we've only got this to do, this and this, and we're ready to move on to the next section. Also, I'll be sanding this down because we're also going to need to paint this, so I'll be back once I've finished sanding. We are back after sanding, and as you can see, we have sanded off all of the chrome that was on the top, and the chrome, this is now grey underneath on here. Now I did start sanding the red, but the red seemed to be some kind of like powdered dye, and it was taking ages to sand. Plus it doesn't have a shiny finish like the chrome. It's got quite a matte finish, so hopefully I should be able to paint over that without problem. Also the extension, well I suppose the end of the barrel has been painted over as well, sanded, sorry, which we'll be able to paint over later, but like I say, we'll come back to this later and explain why this needs to be painted as well.
Okay, so we're back. The next stage is spray painting. So we're going to need some spray paint, but instead I found this Bioshock outfit. So what we're going to do is get rid of the Bioshock outfit, and we're going to get some spray paint. So wait right there, and I'll get us. So what we're going to do is spray black, might have to put a couple of coats on here.
We actually should have fiberglassed this first, but sorry, I want a black coat on before it starts raining. And then I can do the fiberglassing inside. Okay, so we've got some pretty good coverage there. We'll come back and then we'll get this section fiberglassed, and then once we've got that fiberglassed, we'll be ready for the next stage. And with that, however, we're going to put some fiberglass in these holes, the same kind of fiberglass that they use for car bodywork, and fill these holes in so they're nice and smooth. So what we're going to need is some fibro fill, and we're going to take this out and we're just literally going to smear it in these holes, get them filled up, sand over the top, and then we'll go back to painting. But at least by giving it this black coat, it now looks a lot better. I mean, I should have probably done the fiberglassing first, but solid, it's done now. So I'll get the fiberglass ready, and then we'll come back when we're glassing it up. We have the top off, well, some cardboard from a Cocoa Pops box, and we're going to get the fiberglass like this and scoop some on. Actually, might be an idea to put some gloves on. You probably don't want to be getting fiberglass on your hands. Rip the glove. If you're wondering what that noise is, it's a dog having a drink. Okay, so gloves on. Just get some fibro fill. And we can just smear it into the holes like this. The main thing is get those holes filled. We have fiberglassed the holes on the shotgun in, so all we need to do now is just wait for the fiberglass to dry, sand it off, hopefully it should be smooth-ish, and then from there we can get it painted and looking better. Okay, so we're back. We'll let the fiberglass set overnight, and what we've done is since then is we've sanded all the fiberglass down, so we now have got rid of all of the holes that were on the top. We've got quite a smooth finish, which it's still got a few marginal bumps and a texture to it, but that'll be all the better for when it comes to painting it later on. So now what we need to do is give this another coat of black, which will obviously cover this and a few paint imperfections that we had earlier on, which I've since sanded. The key is give lots of coats of paint, and rather than one thick layer, pick thin layers and more of them. So we're going to go and give that another spray, and then we'll come back and see how it's looking. So shotgun has been painted with a few layers, and it's looking rather good. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to paint this. We'll paint the pump section. Now for this we've got a brush, but the brush is too wide, so I'm going to chop that down to size. Make it a bit shorter, a bit thinner. Paint wise, I've dug into my archives and I've found some Warhammer Citadel paints. We're going to paint it vomit brown, and then we're going to coat it with a few coats of snakebite leather and see how it looks. So this one first, vomit brown, and then snakebite leather after that. As you can see, I've cut the brush down to size. Just slowly, carefully painting over the gun. As you see, this paint has got good coverage on black, which is what we're going to need for the wood effect afterwards. Okay, we've got our scourer. I've cut a section off. We're going to roll this up and put it down the barrel. So I'm just going to get some all-purpose general glue, and providing I haven't blocked the end up, which I don't know I haven't. Shit, it's getting messy. I'm just going to pour some glue down the tube so that when we pour the end of this scourer down it sticks. So just gonna line the inside with glue. It doesn't have to be thick, just a thin layer will do. And then we're gonna roll our scourer up. So that when we put it inside of the barrel, it expands and fills the end of the barrel. Like I said, this isn't an ideal situation, but it's better than getting arrested on firearms charges. Obviously we'll get the rest of this painted red and then we'll be back. The end of the gun has been painted once in red, just waiting for that to dry, the enamel paint. This has had 2 coats of vomit brown paint, and we're now going to give it a couple of coats of snakebite leather. So this is going to darken down the colour of the gun, well, the wood on the gun, the wood effect. So we're going to just do the same thing as before. I'm going to get a brush, dunk it in, and then just paint over this with the brown. As we've got the nice undercoat on it, hopefully this should give it a good wood effect. If you're wondering what the noise is, it's the dog having a drink. So I'm just going to paint this over like that, and as you can see, the way that it's coming up is that you can still slightly see the lighter orangey brown underneath the dark, but by the time we've put a couple of coats on, it should start looking pretty good. So what I'll do is I'll carry on painting this. I'll give both sides a coat, and then we'll come back when we're about to do the second coat, just to save time. So what we're doing now is we're going to put a brown ink onto the brown that we've painted on the gun, and what this is going to do is hopefully give it a good wood effect. I'm just going to paint that on like that. This takes quite a while to dry, so get this done and out of the way. We've put 2 coats on here. The end of the gun has had 3 coats of red, so that's looking pretty good now. So we're just going to paint the ink on. Again, using Citadel paint. To be honest, any paint will do. This one's actually called a brown wash, but it's actually a brown ink. And we're just going to spread this on here. This is looking quite nice after the wash. After we put the ink on it, the ink's all dry now and it's good to go. As you can see, it's got quite a nice little wood style effect to it. Next thing we're going to do now is we are going to paint the top of the barrel. We're going to paint it using a technique called dry brushing, which I'll just go over and I'll demonstrate. For this we're going to be using a paint called bulk gunmetal, which all it is really is a very dark silver. It's like a silver mixed with a black, so it's very dark, and it'll give it kind of like a nice dirty battered, buckled kind of metallic look. So like I said before, we're going to be using a technique called dry brushing. First off, sounds ridiculous, well it sounds obvious, sorry. Make sure your brush is both clean. This one isn't, I'm just going to give it a quick wash. Make sure your brush is clean and dry. As the name states, dry brushing makes sense for your brush to be dry. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put the brush in the silver like so, and then what we're actually going to do is wipe off most of the silver onto this tissue so that there's almost none left. Okay, so there's not a lot of silver left on now. Now we can go to the gun. What we can do is we can just gently brush that on. Just very, very, very lightly. You'll hardly be able to see it at first, but it gives it a kind of damaged metal kind of look. That's all you need to do. And we now have quite a grungy, metallic, obviously metal barrel of our shotgun, which looks like it's been in a few battles itself. It's looking good. One more thing, just before I forget. Now that the shotgun is finished, here's what the shotgun looks like without the end on. Still looks alright, looks pretty good. And obviously when you go out in public with it, to avoid getting arrested by the police for having an imitation firearm, you have to put that on the end. And obviously the end's been blocked up, so it's clear that you're not going to be shooting anything with it. So just to recap, that's what it looks like on, and that's what it looks like off. It looks pretty menacing off, actually. I can see why you would get arrested for it. Okay, what we're going to do now is put a coat of plastic coat, crystal coat on, which is going to give us a nice protective coat. You want a thin coat, not thick, and it's best to put a few thin layers on than a thick one. That's going to go in the outtake reel. So put that there to dry. And then we walk away and nothing went wrong.